Prior to knowing Wilson, I always get to hear a lot about him through my ex-colleague, Dr. Max.
He's always been so helpful.
He's a very visionary guy.
Then I really got to know Wilson in person when Proppy was founded end of 2020.
He have a very sharp mind.
He is truly a solution architect with foresight, technical know-how, and a clear vision.
He's someone that takes a personal interest into the mentoring relationship.
He is a person with empathy.
A strategist planner.
He's such a great mentor to each and every one of us.
It is my honor to participate in this venture and to make dreams come home together with my Proppian family.
Well. A very good evening to everyone, and welcome to the 10th episode of our Proppy podcast. And I'm Ivan, the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer, and it's indeed truly an honor to be here for our 10th session. I want to thank all of you for taking the time off your family Sunday evening to be with us here tonight. I guess life has somewhat gone back to normal, and I'm sure everybody has plans for the Sunday. So for that, we are honored to have you with us tonight. Well, I'm back hosting and for a special reason, and I can't believe that we have already racked up 10 podcasts since we started way back on the 31st of January. So if you're here for the first time, do watch our previous podcast sessions to keep you posted and keep you up to speed on what's been happening with our Proppy family. And for starters, we not only have found a new podcast host, we have also launched our Mandarin podcast session, which for now alternates with this English podcast. So I would like to invite you to head over to our YouTube and Podbean channels and like and share and subscribe to get the latest updates on Proppy and what we do. Well, tonight's the 4th of April, and we have a special 4 podcast with our very special distinguished guest, our chief coach and founder, Mr. Lee Willson. Hi, Wilson. Yes, we are finally here. How are you, man?
Yeah.
Okay, before we begin, let me clear off some housekeeping announcements for all our in-house live Zoom attendees. This is a recorded podcast, which we will publish both on our YouTube as well as Podbean channels. So as a gentle reminder, this is not a pitch session per se, but we use this opportunity during the podcast to really give you a chance to get to know our Proppians better. And for all of us here right now who's actually coming in, even right now, there are still people coming in into our live Zoom attendees. I think this is really going to be a record-breaking session. We have something very special for all of you at the end of the podcast. Don't leave the room after we finish this recording, as we will be opening up our sort of Zoom session after our podcast for a live Q&A with our special guest, Mr. Lee Willson. So please hang around after that live session for an after show. Trust me, the after shows are always much better. And you wouldn't want to miss this either. Well, I'm not sure whether I should be thrilled or sad for this podcast. Some may say that we've been waiting for this day for a long time to listen to Mr. Lee live once again. When was the last time you remember you appeared on any of our live shows and podcasts? I can't even remember. I'm thinking back again. When was the last time you actually came on live, man? I think it was December. Was it December? Or was it November before that? But it actually says a lot about the talent that we have at Proppy right now. And I'm sure you're very proud of that as well. But to be honest, I have been really dreading this day. I've been really dragging my leg about this as well. Not in a negative way. I somehow knew that this day would come. In fact, with Wilson and I have been discussing about this for a long time already, talking about his appearance or non-appearance and when would probably be the right time. I don't think there will ever be a right time, right, for such a thing. But okay, so for those of you who are still clueless and wondering if you're listening for the first time and wondering what's happening and what am I talking about, I'm speaking to Mr. Lee Willson. He is our chief coach as well as founder of ProppyApp. He is not the CEO. I repeat, he is not our CEO. He is our chief coach. He rather he always likes to be called the chief coach or chief coordinator, CC, in short. So we call him CC. And this 404 podcast may very well be his final jang appearance on any live broadcast stream lah. So you can really thank your lucky stars that you're here, and if you're here, really give you a chance to really get to know him or even ask him questions later on as well. But we will definitely get to the bottom of this in a while. All right. So before we begin, I would like to share a little bit about Wilson. Wilson and I go a long way lah. All right. I've known Wilson for what, 35 years now. I think older than his brother. Since we were in Form 1. Because I remember that time, I think we were in Form 1, and it's like, oh, his brother, it was a small baby. Just gave birth on that year, same year. And let me also tell you that he has always, since the first day I knew him, had a reputation, right? Reputation, and I quote unquote reputation. Ever since then, since school days, he has always been known to do things differently. All right. He's always challenged the norms, challenged teachers, challenged people who may not agree with him. But at that point in time, when you were young, right, you don't really know exactly what it was. You just knew that he was a little bit, quite like na, in some way in Hokkien. And people like that aren't always appreciated, especially at that time and age, now whether it's for the right or wrong reasons, but in hindsight, looking back, one thing I've realized is that he has always been ahead of the curve. We have had so much history together. We have done so many things together, with some good, some not so good, some downright obscene, but whatever it is you can think of, we've pretty much done them all. And I don't think this is the right forum for us to share about those kind of situations, but I guess it's only natural that we should be going up close and deeply personal. And I think we will probably need 40 days and 40 nights to finish all of our stories lah. So in order to know those stories, come and join Proppy, and you will get to listen to those stories firsthand. All right, let's get straight to it, man. Because it's not about me, and I think I'm gonna let the man of the hour speak for himself. So our session today is called 404. All right, founder not found. 404 was actually derived from the tech term 404, file not found. So it's very interesting that we actually say, okay, why don't we, call it founder not found? And I'm hoping to give our audience today, all of you, a glimpse behind all the glitz and glam, or the seemingly glitz and glam, the man behind the aura, the celebrity status, all that bigger than life personality, all that we thought we know about Wilson. And I'm going to give him a chance to settle this score once and for all. So let's start with the obvious. Why founder not found? What does it mean? And what is it that you're telling us? And why is this probably going to be your last appearance?
Actually, founder not found is also like CEO not found.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were, I don't know. In fact, I feel quite happy and proud, because of the talents that we have, that we actually do not need a CEO, because all the talents are going to be CEOs, and I vow to groom each and every one of them in the team to be the CEO in their own right, to lead their own divisions and to lead their own companies in the group of companies.
Now we hear about that all the time, especially we hear from CEOs. They say that look, we all are CEOs. But what do you mean by that? Like CEO is not found. There's no CEO. So because there's no CEO, who's running the company?
Yeah, so the company is actually run by consensus. So in the beginning, we have drafted out the full direction with the vision of what to build and what problems to solve and how to solve them. Actually, the roadmap has been very clear from the beginning. Each and every step, I have always shared with my close friends, and I say, the strength that we have is not how rich we are or the people or who we are. I think our real strength lies in that each and every step of the way, we know exactly what to do, how to do it, and what's next.
That is actually quite a challenge also, because what to do and when to do it, how to do it, some or rather each and everyone has their different styles and different ways of doing it. How do you consolidate it? How do you get that alignment? Because I mean,
Very true.
I've been a
In fact,
corporate
that's the
consultant.
reason
Yeah.
why I would rather assume the position of chief coach and chief coordinator. Chief coach meaning that once we lay the general roadmap, then we'll have each divisions to have their own task to complete, right? And then to complete their task in accordance to our roadmap and our deadline, I will go behind the scenes and actually coach the key team members of how to get it done. So I'll be coaching this team from behind. I'll be coaching that team from behind. I'll be coaching the other division from behind, so that they eventually, through this process, then they actually learn how to get the job done. So sometimes, in a certain way, you can come to think of Proppy as a real career academy. You know, because not just nowadays on Facebook, you see advertisers of those corporate coach or success coach, right? I mean, people spent, even back during our days, I remember people spent tens of thousands, even up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, to attend a success class, to attend a coaching thing. But that wasn't coaching. Okay, those are only training classes, and at the training class, you could feel very motivated. You feel you are enlightened. But the thing is, after those classes, when you are back to your normal daily lives, you are there alone to fight the battle yourself with no guide. So that wasn't real coaching, you know. And those people, I always see that those people who always say that, you know, I'm a success trainer, I'll teach you to be successful and things like that. Well, the thing is, if they are really successful, they would have done it themselves, or they would have done it with you. So, you know, why do they need to collect a training fee from you and make money from the training fee rather than the career itself? So that was why I thought, you know, in a way, that Proppy is like a Proppy academy. So you can pay the fees and then to be coached along the way. And on top of that, you even get shares of the company and enjoy the success. So this is how the
that's
idea.
actually a very that's a very revolutionary idea. We'll come back to that idea later. But are you saying that you're going to be disappearing after this?
Yes, it's like, I mean, for those who have heard of Bitcoin, you know Satoshi, right? I mean, right, Satoshi actually disappeared even before, I think it's around, very soon.
Did they say that he reappeared somehow or other, that he moved his
No.
Bitcoin?
No, not true. Not true at all.
So you're saying that you're like Satoshi lah? Or are you Satoshi?
I'm not Satoshi. No, okay. Let me make an official announcement. I'm not
official
Satoshi.
announcement, not Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
always, as you know, you can't be too sure, right? So yeah.
It's a weird question that I should be asking this, but why the need for such a dramatic exit from the public eye? I mean, it's fine. You can, you know, continue to do what you're doing, and you know, but why do you need to move out from the public eye?
For those who don't really know me, maybe it's dramatic, maybe it's a shock or whatever, but this has always been in my mind since quite a few years ago. You know, after my Bitcoin and blockchain adventure, right? Because it's just like Satoshi, you know, when you have achieved what you had came out to achieve in life, right? And it doesn't really matter anymore that who actually started this, who actually founded this, because the legacy is there in the world, bringing value to the world, changing the world. That's what really matters. So you don't actually need to, you know, be in the limelight for everything to shine on you. In fact, that to me, I think philosophically, it is not it is sometimes more of a personal ego at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people are going to laugh at me for saying that. I'm actually an introvert. And
Yes, I'll be the first.
but the thing is, those who are close to me, you know
Yeah.
that I do not have a social life. Okay, for me, it's
Around your
just
family.
always, yes, it's just around my family and
your very close friends.
and a very close comrades. That's all. I do not I'm not always out there drinking and partying or socializing. Yeah.
Okay. For that, I would have to agree and disagree because I'm in your inner circle. So obviously, I'm the one who is actually always going out with you. And if I know introverts are more comfortable with their inner circles. They're not the flashy type. But actually, this is contradicting with the image that you have crafted in the public eye, in the public sphere. You have been in China, your blockchain ambassador with awards and titles. You've appeared on China national TV. Your events are massive. So I'm not sure why. How is this? How did you actually? So it's so contradictory.
It seems so, yes. Prima facie. Yes. No, the thing is, because when I got to know Bitcoin back then, it wasn't popular. The world was against it.
Yeah.
So somebody has got to do something, and the only way to grab attention is to be really out of this world, to be flashy. But that is for a reason. It's not what I wanted, but it is to reach the objective. Is for the objective, right?
Yeah.
And once the objective is reached and everybody's all talking about it, I don't see the need for me to be there anymore.
Yeah.
So in fact, many of my close associates, they were also expressing disappointment that I did not pick up from there.
Yeah.
And became a really, really global renowned celebrity, to appear in all those seminars, conventions, events, being interviewed. I would rather, just stay at the back and work with my teams. I do have quite a few teams, R&D on future technologies to change the world. I prefer to work from the back end and deliver those technologies rather than just at the front. I know it's very contradicting.
But why do you decide to come back to Malaysia?
Wow, that's a big question because yes.
I mean, you've been traveling. I know that you live in Hong Kong for a while, and then Shenzhen for a long while, and then you went to
in
UK,
London,
in London as well. So, I mean, obviously, home is where the heart is, and Malaysia is home. But it was quite a surprise to me as well that you actually decided to come back to Malaysia, and happened to be before the pandemic as well.
So, because I have been reading the trend, and I see that the conditions in China wasn't like about 12 or 13 years before when I went there. So I look at the trend and I thought, I think for me at least, it's come to the end of a circle or the cycle, and I should start my life back where I'm from, and I really feel comfortable back here in Malaysia. And
So it was like coming back to retire lah. So to speak.
Sort of, yeah.
Because
for the past years I've been traveling with my family around the world.
And you did your world tour. It was out there, your Bitcoin world tour. I saw you traveling almost to every continent in the world, and you visited a lot of places. I was it's like that was massive. So to see a world traveler like you, someone like you, suddenly coming back to Malaysia is like, you mean you're done it all already, lah?
I think I've achieved what I have set
you have
out
set out.
to achieve. Yes, and
Yeah, I think that's a very good value to have. I think the level of contentment and in knowing what you have set out, what you want, and what you achieve, and how you reached it, and I guess that's something which a lot of people can emulate and reapply as well. But I mean, you have been so you've decided to actually come back in a sort of like a semi-retirement. How I wish I could say that. Right? And you've also slowly, moved out from the public eye. Proppy,
indeed, indeed.
why did you reemerge? You could have just stayed off the radar. And when I'm talking about radar, I'm also talking with radar, with a quote unquote radar, a radar which you decided. I know I had a long conversation with you a couple of years ago when you went into deep state crypto, and you are off the radar, but now you're back on the radar. The blip has just. So why did you reemerge? What's the story, man?
So I actually officially beginning to really stay put in Malaysia since the early February of last year, 2020. And then the pandemic came, right? And it sort of got me grounded. So in the beginning, I mean, frankly speaking, for me and my family, we don't really miss the traveling because we've been traveling too much in the past few years. So we were happy to stay home, and in the beginning I was still swimming in my condo, playing table tennis, watching Netflix, watching movies and things
That's
like
like
that.
a retirement home, man. A very luxurious retirement home.
Yeah, and then then Dr. Max came to me and spoke to me about what he has done before, and asked me on my suggestion, opinion, or how to move forward. And as I look into that, I think the pandemic has stretched on, and economically, nobody expected this to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people were living, I think, relatively okay lives. That said, I think even including yourself, I mean, right? You were in Cambodia, you're starting off, Mindsmiths and everything, and that suddenly you're grounded, and all those hard work of all those years, just like, and you can't do anything about it.
It felt like sand castles by the seashore, that the wave just came and just you spent so many years thinking that the tsunami was far away, and you are actually building those sandcastles in a safe place. It just came and wiped everything out, and I don't think I was
and
the
you know
only
what's
one.
worse? Exactly, that was what I'm going to say. You weren't the only one. That's what's really really hurt and pains me, because of I see friends and families losing their jobs, their business badly affected. I cannot live in seclusion. I just cannot I don't know. I just cannot see that happening. And you see a lot of talents, really really good talents, who are supposed to shine in their career, who have a very bright future in front of them, and suddenly lost. Everybody's looking for a way out, but there's no way out, because in the MCO there's nothing much you can do. And the most one can do is actually go for become a YouTuber, Facebook Live and things like that, but that's very on the surface.
Or sell pineapple tarts and otak.
Yeah, I mean, those, I've always seen this world in a way that there's something called livelihood, and there's something called career. Okay, and talents are supposed to build careers.
That's right.
Not just to indulge in livelihood, but the pandemic has forced everyone, the people around me. In fact, when I came back, I created a chat group of my close associates and friends, and it's amazing how they suffered. Okay, so I couldn't see that happening. So when Dr. Max came to me, I thought, we really have to do something about it.
I can feel your heart when you talk about family. I mean, I appreciate that comradeship. Yet at the same time, I like to go deeper and try and really dig deeper. After all, if this is the chance for you to really settle it once and for all, to for anyone who wants to know who Mr. Lee Willson is, peeling off the layers, the layers of glitz and glam of what you perceive Mr. Lee Willson is, and we want to go down to the core. My question, I mean, everything, I think, also coming from a motivational corporate consultant background, we tend to talk to our organizations or people who say that that everybody does something because of something or for something. Your desire and your heart for this family must have originated from somewhere. So my question is, where did this value come from?
Yeah, because nowadays with the social media, you can see it is so easy to make friends. People who don't know you can just come to your Facebook and try to add friend, and suddenly that's a friend. And when you don't like something they say, you don't like something they see, you just unfriend. So friends have become a
commodity.
Yeah, it's losing its original value.
It's losing its value,
right? And even even back in the olden days, you will have people who call you friends, who even call you bro, who bro you and call you brother, and
it's no meaning. It's almost like no meaning. Everybody's like a bro. What do you mean? Like, what's it? We could just say, hey, bro. On a hang tie. But
exactly, but when you're
shove,
in need, when push comes to shove, and you really need something, where you really need the support from them, where are they? Where are they? And you should know better, because you are the one who have been for years shouting out to others. If you need anything, you ask from me. I'll try my best to help. You need something, I'll give you a ride. You need something, I'll try to get it done. But then eventually you realize that I don't know, people just like to receive help, but to give that support back, it's like so hard. And that pains me. That shouldn't be the way the world is. I always believe if you do something good for me, I will give it back doubly good for you. And I think this reciprocal approach is a more it's a better friendship. And in Chinese, there's a saying, they say, if you're at home, you will have a family, but if you're out, you have your friends. But how true is that? So that is why I always thought that friendship is an overstated thing, and all you need are a few close comrades. Okay, I think that's what really matters, because if you think back, we would rather spend time with the ones who appreciate us, the time we love, the ones we love, the ones we care, the ones who appreciate us back as much as we appreciate them, instead of just socializing and friends. So to me, family, there are two types of family. One is we call the blood family. Blood family is like father, mother, brothers, and sisters. But those families are families not by choice. We don't have a choice. Okay, we are born into that family. And that is why I always do not have a very strong holding to that kind of family. But instead, I give the main weightage of this relationship to family by choice. And to me, family by choice, I always call it thicker than blood. And that's how the Proppy family is built upon.
So tell us a little bit more about that, about when you built into Proppy and how you envision this particular.
I started not only with nothing. I started my life, my career with negative. And during times of desperation, when you feel so helpless to the extent of begging for help, praying for help. And I remember always hoping that I mean, sometimes you ask yourself, we are not useless. We have good attitude. And to be fair, I think I'm a good talent, and I'm willing to contribute. I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to this and that. When you always willing and ready to give your best and do things and create value, and not by creating any trouble, you somehow hope someone will give you the opportunity, give you a hand and say that, okay, come on board, I'll give you the support you need. You just need to do your part, do your best and shine. How I hope that someone would extend their helping hand and say that, okay, come. But that has never happened to me, even after all that wishful thinking, you might have said. So that was why I asked, if one day I am back in that position to be able to offer that opportunity, would I do that? And the answer is yes. And I think that's how it.
Interestingly, sometimes people tend to be a bit more resentful in those kind of situations. And then when they reach that level, they say, see, I finally done it. I've proven to people that I can do it, even without any help. But I think I understand where you're coming from as well, because I think when I was also at my early stage of my career, I was also looking forward to actually having say, come somebody, I don't mind even being somebody's intern or, going and understudy for somebody else, just give me a chance. And at the early stage of our career, we always go to a place and say, oh, how many years of experience you have? No, I'm fresh. Oh, we need at least 2 years or 3 years experience. You don't give me a chance. How am I ever going to reach that level of experience? I don't have that experience because I never was given this opportunity. How did that experience
Exactly. That's
shape?
why they say a friend in need is a friend indeed. That's the real meaning of that phrase.
Sometimes people may say that it's very ambitious and also very okay, sorry, I've suddenly lost. It's too not only ambitious, but it is too far-fetched because it's too idealistic.
Yes, the thing is, because once you have come from the very bottom, I did have a chance to start my career, for your information. When I came back from UK, when I'm supposedly invited by the then Sime Darby Group to start the Sime Bank, I was called back to join them, but I came back in 1997, never joined them, and started out on my own with a lot of debt and without any resources. Imagine, I was only 23, 24, not knowing anyone in KL. I don't have any business contacts. I have nothing. And I actually borrowed money to start an office and to start a business. And then I think in 1997 is the Asian financial crisis. Everything almost collapsed, even for big corporates. What more, a young boy, inexperienced young boy like me back then. So, coming from the bottom, sometimes you see the picture that much clearer. Yeah, you see the corporate world, how the false pretense they put on, to be how professional, and they talk about corporate kind of thing. And then you look at the capital markets. I was always interested in politics, and politics is about redistribution of wealth, and that goes into economic policies. I don't know why, at the age and at the time and at the period of when I should be actually struggling for survival, I actually look deep into those issues, like how a country or how a nation creates wealth. They used to print wealth on a piece of paper, and they say, it's not even worth the paper it's printed on. But nowadays, they don't even have that piece of paper. They just create numbers like that. Kazoom, and out of nowhere. And if you look at the distribution of wealth, you realize that all these new monies created, all these new numbers, the majority of them, I suppose at least 70% of them will go to the top 5% of the people, and only for the 30% to go down to the rest. And at the bottom, they'll get the least. And that is why the bottom, those at the B40, you always say B40, they'll be always struggling for survival. and the rich always gets richer. I mean, just look at companies, look at startups. People always deem us as a startup. Are we a startup? Proppy, yes, we are a startup, but we are not a normal startup, because a normal startup are normally the founders are young people, very ambitious, very talented, and hope to achieve a dream. But they always need funding. They always need money to achieve their dreams. So what happened was, for good startups, the VCs, the venture capitalists, are always very early to be as the eagle, to eat them up, to invest in them. But these people, they come with money, not for free. They come with money, they will go into the company, they will dictate the growth, they will buy out, and they just want to create the numbers to make money. So this, in actual fact, if you look at the normal startups, the VCs will go in early, and then create a very big value. And where do they get the value from? The funny thing is they get the value from the users, right? You can see all these big websites, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Taobao or Alibaba.
TikTok.
The value of TikTok, their value actually, if you look at how they value a company, their value actually comes also partly from the number of users. Meaning to say, every user is worth an amount of money, and you times that hundreds of million or billion of users with that certain amount of money, you get their company valuation. And that's where I see the problem is, because the users, people like you and me, we contribute to their value, their economy. But then who are the ones who really profit from that? It is the VCs, it's the people with money. All right. So the people with money actually goes into the company, have all the users to boom up the value, and then the value eventually they go for IPO, right? And then when they go for IPO, it means that their shares are being offered to the whole market. And who are the ones buying? The users.
Yep, the users themselves.
So the users contribute to the value for the VCs to make thousands of times of big profit. And the ones ultimately paying for that are also the users. So I think there's something wrong somewhere in there. And that is why we in Proppy, you see, we do something very different. In our early rounds, in our early funding rounds, we do not open. First of all, we are not that desperate of money, because we have the technology, we have the ready technology.
Yeah, we do.
And part of the reason why I'm called the chief coordinator is not just coordinating within the company. For those who know the projects that I have been involving myself in are future technologies. I built the decentralized computing resources market. I built a chain commerce infrastructure. I built the future of internet, a really decentralized non-TCP/IP protocol internet. I even built a distributed or decentralized content distribution network and things like that. These are all futuristic things, from AI and big data, IoT, blockchain.
And
so
a zoo.
I actually,
and also a zoo.
Yes, I have the world's top. I have also the world's top research, science research center, so to speak. So, I've been working with the top scientists, so I know what the technologies to use. But those technologies that I work on the other end, they're too far ahead. So I'm just thinking, why not? I just plug out the existing useful technologies and then just combine them together and deliver to what the current world understands and accept more easily. And that's why I'm called the chief coordinator, not just within the company, but throughout the whole thing. And that is why you see normally at a company, they need especially for tech startups, you will see that a major amount of money that is being invested to is definitely into R&D.
Yeah.
Okay. Our advantage is we do not need R&D. We just need to put things together, existing technologies together. So that is why we can move so fast and we can be worth so much. I think that's part of the reason.
And
right?
that is actually, I think, a very prevalent trait about not just you, but of course, Proppy. And it's very different, the approach, the ethos, the philosophy, the corporate organization, even the way in which we want to do things. People find it very difficult to understand people who are more attuned to traditional VC corporate organization. I come from that background. We train companies, we look into organization structures, and for the first time, I had to actually scratch my head 3, 4, 5 times. This is completely different. Never been done before, never been executed before. But it is going to be interesting because it could be a case study on its own. And you have always had a different mind. It's as if you could see the future. Now I know you. I grew up with you. Okay. I mean, this is what we say. When the prophet comes, it's like can't be. I've seen you from when you were young. Okay, we've done weird stuff together. How did you develop? Where did you develop this knack of seeing and reading trends and seeing the future? How do you do that?
I think it's probably stemmed from when I was growing up, during my baby times of maybe I think 3 or 4 years old. Near my house, there was a Sunday school, right? And Sunday school, my parents would send me there. Not that they are religious believers, but they just felt that I should learn something, so they sent me to the Sunday schools and learn to sing the songs and learn the Bible stories and things like that. And then eventually, I actually went into the kindergarten of the Christian Presbyterian background in Ngow, the Presbyterian school. And not only my kindergarten, in fact, I did my whole primary school there. And for those who know the school, every Monday we will have a session of an hour about Bible stories and things. That's why I grew up. I can say that I grew up in a Christian environment background. But then when I just started going into secondary school, the interesting part is that near my house, just less than 50 meters away, actually they built this Buddhist association. Okay, in Chinese they call it 真心会. Okay, those in one, you will know that place. It's just 50 meters.
Less than that. I think I was about 25 meters.
About that, yes, less than that. So they start to have activities, and then it was during I was growing up. So I would sometimes I would go there and listen to the talks, participate in the activities. I don't know, frankly speaking, hoping also to meet pretty girls, but never did meet any there lah. But
wrong place.
Okay, wrong place. But well, I did learn a lot, and that was when I start to learn about Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, for all the those mantras or all those books. Yeah, I've listened, been to them. I even took a competition into a talk there and was the champion there. And then I think the next change came when I was in Form 4. For those who remember, actually came back to Form 5 with a bald head, just like you. I was bald. Why? Is because at the end of Form 4, my father's friend actually recommended him and say that there's a novice monk program in Brickfields, KL. Okay, so I was sent to there to become a novice monk and to learn about Buddhism, to become a monk, to learn about, and it was Theravadian Buddhism. And then eventually after that, I was sent also by my father to learn about transcendental meditation of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the meditation that you see people, they float in the air one.
I see.
Yes,
so you went the other way around. Instead of the monk that the corporate guy who sold off his Ferrari to become a monk, you are the monk who actually went and buy a Ferrari.
Sort of, yes. And then after that, because one of my family members became or forced to become a Muslim, so it also aroused my interest, and then I also studied into.
So your background is actually quite a combination of all these different.
But I think the key point is that because back in those days, I always see people when they age, especially when they're 60, 70, 80, towards the end of their lives. I notice this. I observe and I notice always when people are reaching the end of their lives or before they die or things like that. They will go into religious studies and look for religion and to find the answer in life.
People's mortality lah. They feel mortal. Once they feel that they're gonna die, that's when they start to think about afterlife.
To try to look for the answer. Okay, so that was when I thought, you asked me why I think differently. It's because I asked myself, now what if I do it the reverse way?
Okay.
Why not I find the answer first and
live
then
life.
live my life? So that was why I go into all this Christianity, Buddhism, meditation.
That's a
Islam,
different take to it.
So I started at the destination.
In itself.
In itself. So that is why when I look at things, I do it the reverse manner. I see from the reverse way.
Yeah. And what kind of thinking did it help? Did it shape or did it form? What kind of thinking from all of that? What kind of thinking did it form after that?
So when you start to see life in such a manner, and then I suddenly became more of a philosopher or thinker, a philosopher, a thinker rather than a businessman or career builder, and always look at things from the satellite's view. So when you see things from the satellite's view, you always tend to see the real world problems. And that was also how I later on became a civil activist when I also looked into religions, not only religion, politics and the policies, economic policies and things like that. And for those who know me, they know that, my favorite 3 books by Harari.
Harari, Yuval Noah Harari.
Noah Yuval Harari.
Homo sapiens.
Homo Deus. 21 lessons.
But and a lot of these thinking and philosophies are also very controversial, and it does challenge the norm, and it feels as if it's like a losing battle, because it's like you're one man battle machine that goes out, because everybody else is moving this way, and you are doing that. And
it has always been hard. It has always been hard.
Yeah.
Because if I start to think back, it actually started in 1996. Okay. For those who are matured back in 1996, you can actually think back the environment back then. In 1996, I was in UK and involved myself, although I was doing my final year of my ACCA there, accountancy. But I was very into business. And you cannot imagine the one business, a major business I was in, it was called City 2000. Okay. And City 2000 was an internet advertising directory. Okay. Google wasn't even very organized back then. It was just a search machine.
Netscape and I was the main one.
Exactly. And I was already into internet advertising. Web directory. It was called City 2000. Okay, you can sell your cars, your properties, and things like that. 1996. Please, everyone, you think back 1996. So in 1997, I came back to Malaysia and I thought, yes, I have the vision. I see the future. I'm in front. And now I'm going to show Malaysia. I'm going to show the world about the future. I came back. I talked to people. Nobody understood what I was talking about. Totally. They don't even have internet back then, Back then,
it was quite hard. It was quite
jarring.
Was still, 97 was still jarring.
And the most popular modem was the US Robotics 56K. When you connect the lines, it goes in. So it was still back in those days. So much less business directories. People weren't ready to pay money to be advertised there, and then eventually. The .com era came. Okay, so I started from nothing. I was only trying to survive, and I couldn't survive through with that kind of business. People just wasn't ready, and I
So when
I died in the flood, so to speak. So I missed. Actually, I saw it coming. During the internet era, I saw it coming. I was there. I was in front, but I did not have the resource to really survive that thing until it happened. So I missed that.
So when
And I
was the breakthrough?
Yes, and I was so disappointed because I have missed that big wave of wealth, right? So gone. I thought, when's the next coming?
Yeah.
And then end of 2013, I came to know about Bitcoin, right? A company actually tried to employ, throughout these years, I have made myself to be quite a well-known multilingual public speaker. And so I was invited to talk about the Bitcoin. But I didn't know what Bitcoin was, and initially, of course, like many others, I thought it was a scam. But then, as I explained, I look at things from the satellite point of view, and I'm a trend reader, and I read politics, I read economy, and when Bitcoin came along, everybody when talk about Bitcoin, it's only about the price. But for me, when I look at the underlying technology, I see the value. So when everyone was talking about how much money you were making, how much profit you were making, how much loss you were making through Bitcoin, I was looking at the value. So without a doubt, without doubting anything, I put everything, all of everything, and I thought, since I missed the last wave, I will not be missing this one. And so all into Bitcoin, and then eventually Ethereum.
When? That time, right? At that time.
And then eventually switched to Ethereum. People thought Bitcoin is a big thing, but then I moved part into Ethereum, and then I also funded a few very successful ICO for techs that is still existing until today.
Yeah.
And I also founded a few teams, and so that was how I involved, and now unbelievably I'm working secretly with the top scientists in the world. Yeah, and it is that kind of distributed and decentralized and the empowerment of technology back into the hands of every individual, to the users, that will bring about a real sharing economy. Okay, because people talk about sharing economy, but they have no idea, because when they talk about sharing economy of today, they actually talk about companies like Uber or Grab, or
the sharing.
But the thing is, you're only sharing that the final product. You're not sharing the profits. If you don't share the economy, if you don't share the profits, it's not a real sharing economy, right? So that is why Proppy,
Well, that is fundamentally changing the entire ball game. Because it's not even just game changer. Because when you're saying that sharing economy, that's what it is now. Because this is our company, Facebook or any other company. That's what they are. How do you share the economy? Not unless you understand the concept of blockchain, lah.
Exactly. So I was going against the tide once again. After the first internet city 2000 thing. Once again, I was going against the tide. But I need to mention a hero of mine. Okay, and he's Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, because Gandhi, this has always been in my mind. He said this: be the change you wish to see in the world. I saw blockchain. I know this is the future. I know how blockchain is going to restructure, not just technologically, but the social life, economy, the way we do business. It is going to revolutionize almost everything that we are doing. And so I thought, to really get the technology going, when the world is in doubt, with what Gandhi has said, I need to take up this task of evangelizing this technology. And that was why I started the first Bitcoin World Tour, and going around the world like a journalist, like a traveler, and talk about this technology.
I remember when I first saw you doing that, I actually asked you, who gave you, are you working for Bitcoin? Because I saw you, when you posted with the hashtag Bitcoin Ambassador, I remember asking, so what is this Bitcoin organization? They chose you to become an ambassador, is it? And I couldn't understand it, when you say no. How did you get that?
Yeah, I was using my own resources, as now everybody knows that. Not everyone, but now I think people have come to know that Bitcoin doesn't have a boss, doesn't have a company, So I was doing this on my own, at my own cost. And when people start to know that, no, it is like you can imagine someone going around and talk to you, propagate internet, trying to tell you about internet. Yeah. So if there was someone like that, people call him the internet ambassador lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going around, and then until somebody thought that, you know, you're doing this at your own expense and going around the world, risking your own reputation, if any. Then we can call you the Bitcoin ambassador. So I thought, well, if it's a name that can attract attention, that helps to accelerate the growth, why not? And in fact, I never claimed, for the record, I never claimed that I'm the only Bitcoin ambassador. In fact, I invited everyone to become Bitcoin ambassadors. Okay, I did not hang on to that. Everyone can be. It's just like now. It's the same concept. I say everyone can be a founder. Everyone can be a CEO. And that is why founder not found. CEO not found. Okay, Bitcoin ambassador not found. I'm just one of many. Maybe one that leads the charge, but that's it. You know, because the spirit of blockchain is no central point of failure. Right? And if everybody share this consensus, if everyone in the team is capable of being a CEO, whatever happens to me will not stop us marching towards our dream. That is real power.
Is there a life mission? We hear about purpose, and and of course it's important for us to have a purpose, to know our why. And this is, a lot of TED Talks that are out there. Everybody's talking about, especially Simon Sinek, very popular about, you must know your why. Is that your why? Is that your purpose in life?
Okay. In fact, I knew it, very well, what I had wanted in life. Like I say, I'd rather find the answer first than live my life. Right? So I knew what I wanted. What all I have wanted is ultimate freedom. Okay, ultimate freedom in wealth, ultimate freedom in time, and ultimate freedom of the mind. So that was what I wanted in life. And when I have achieved that, I'm more reluctant to sacrifice for more money or for more fame if it jeopardizes what I have already achieved. That was how and why I stayed back, because that was what I had wanted in mind. And in fact, if you can remember, I don't know how many of you here tonight are actually my ex-schoolmates from school. You can you can remember, if my schoolmates, my buddies, you remember I told you, I don't know, sometimes it's in the canteen, sometimes it's at the longkang, at the drain just right beside the field, sometimes it's in the classroom. I will always tell my buddies that in the future, one day, given the opportunity, let's come together, create something great together. I made that promise then. I was serious about it. I do my talk, I walk my talk.
It's so funny. It's just like as if that the hands of fate has brought us back here as well. I was in Cambodia traveling in and out. You were traveling all over. We've got Mr. Will Fang, who was actually already established all the way in Beijing, and there's a lot of everyone, some of our founders and the rest of some other people as well, at every places. Even our director, the Hong Kong director, he was already doing stuff, and all of us decided to just come back. I think it was Chinese New Year last year. That's why we came back. And then
Chinese New Year. And then stuck because of the pandemic.
Stuck because of the pandemic. And we're all here.
And then this question arises. Okay, a very big question. All these super talents, all these, super entrepreneurs, suddenly lost. Because in the pandemic, you can't go anywhere. There's not much you can do. It's sort of like throwing a spanner in the works, right? And then you start to look around. You look at the people. Exactly. We're still in it. So look at the people around you. Look at the people around you. How many talents do you know? I think they're good talents, But where are they now? They're struggling. They're lost, right? Even small businessmen, even small investors who might have a savings of few hundred thousands. Do you think they have a chance to invest into a super tech startup, a showy super tech startup like this, if in under normal circumstances, they wouldn't have the chance to. And what about those talents? Given the opportunity, do you think that they would have the opportunity to get involved and join the dream team like what we have now?
Well,
they don't have the chance.
If it's not in this current pandemic, if it's in a normal situation, chances are very slim lah. I mean, if we heard back on our second Proppy podcast, will testimonial, even when Grab, there was an opportunity that, or even when we heard about our first Bitcoin, all these, even if you heard it, would you even first be given the opportunity, and second, would you even want to go in at the same time? So it's a lot of factors that is in play here.
Yeah, but what actually gets me going and wanted to really do this is from my another hero, that is Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man, the famous words are, with great ability comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
I knew what I know what I can do. I know what resources I have. I know I can do it. So if I don't do it, I just cannot live with knowing you can do and then you don't do. And these are the friends. I mean, for those who really know me well for all these years, you will know when I say I love my friends, I really love my friends. In our reunion a few years ago, there was someone who did not turn up. I took the effort to really look him up a few times, even after that. For those who know, it's Ong Lai Hui lah. So we were. I mean, I really love my mates. I really love the people around me. I treasure that relationship. That's how I met. And I cannot live knowing I can do something about it for everyone, but not doing it. I can't.
I'm just gonna, probably wrap up a couple of questions left behind for you as well. We have got a lot of very good insights to about your life, how you were growing up, and what shaped your beliefs and your principles and your values as well. But it's about looking forward to the future. I mean, sometimes we tend to. I'm one of those who always tend to like to talk about the past. It's good for us to actually bring back the past to remind us of what we did before, to look behind for satisfaction as well. But I think for inspiration, we need to look forward. And I think I'm gonna leave the last two questions to forward thinking. I think that's you. You like to talk about what we should be striving for in the future as well. So what would your advice and benediction be to our Proppy family?
If you have the opportunity to know what's going to happen in the future, and someone actually share that with you, and with an open mind, you can see that it's coming. Will you want to be a part of it? And if you are already a part of it, would you want to grab that opportunity and make the best out of it? Instead of just get caught up in livelihood, we should always have an eye for building up career. And I've always said this, if you are always struggling and just concentrating on your livelihood, it's just like in a stadium. There's a running track, right? And everybody's just running around the track, keep on running and running. That's why they call it the rat race, right? And when you run faster than the others, then you get some prizes. But with more prizes, if you do not become stronger, it will slow you down.
Yeah.
And once they slow you down, those with empty hands, they will catch up and then they will move in front. And then everybody is running. The goal is never ending. So, it's just like in the sales line. I don't want to mention which industry, right? So if this year you hit the target, okay, you've won a trip to Korea, for example. But is that the end? Trust me, it's not, because next year you will want to fight for the trip to I don't know, to
England,
Japan,
UK,
and then
Hawaii.
UK. It's never ending. You keep chasing and chasing and chasing, and when will it stop? When will it stop? That is why I think the key thing is to identify what is livelihood and what is career. So here in Proppy, we have a special way of joining the dream team. We never ask anyone to give up their livelihood. In fact, our ethos is to support everyone in their livelihood. So, for example, if you're baking pineapple tarts, if you're baking otak-otak, we will ask everyone to support you. Of course, you must deliver good quality at good value, and then we ask everyone to support, because we support everyone's livelihood. But then we should also be very clear that that is livelihood, that's not career. And where should we build our career? Career must always be built on something that has a future value, that is incoming. So it's like if you see the world from the satellite's point of view, you can see where the world is actually moving towards. You can actually see that. And what we should do, and what we are doing in Proppy, is to build that highway and the toll in front where everybody is heading to. And we can explain to you, what it means. And during some of our sharing sessions, okay, welcome to listen to our sharing sessions. You will know what we see, what we build, and what's our solutions towards that.
Is that your dream?
Yeah.
Is that your dream? I mean, how if I were
would
to?
be. It would be, because
what would your dream be? I mean, what is this dream of yours? We ask every Proppian.
My real dream is for every Proppian's dream to materialize. And that is also to bring, I pave the way for all the Proppians to achieve their own freedom in life. And that would be my dream.
Before we end, I got to ask, when will we see Mr. Lee Willson appear again?
I don't know, because I hope there is not a need to. Because if there's a need to, it simply means that all the founders or CEOs are not ready.
Are not found yet.
Are not found yet.
So that's why founder not found.
Yeah, so it's back to founder not found.
So basically, it's a challenge, not to say that there is no founder. It's really, it's a challenge to every one of us. Actually, this is, and I think this is interesting, because we live on challenges as well. It's a dream. It's a hope. Everyone, to be able to step up. And I totally believe and abide by that ethos as well, that every time when we do something, it's got to be better than the one that we did before. And it's constantly growing, always pushing ourselves towards that betterment as well.
The founder is in every Proppian. And as we are closing on our early funding rounds, the window is of this opening opportunity is getting smaller and smaller. Right? That is why we always say, if you have a friends, relative who you think are talents, I think this is probably, I don't know about the future, but as far as we know, this could be the only opportunity in this, at this moment, being that we are still accepting them, because we are still blocking the VCs away, because we don't need the VC's money at this moment. We are to build dream team, and this is probably the last chance to join the dream team.
And this is how confident you are, isn't it, that we don't even need VC's money? Not now, when we all right. Thank you very much, Wilson. Final word. Anything else? Final word. Just one last drip. I'm squeezing that last drip before we actually close. Last drip. That last drip. I'm squeezing the last drip. Last word.
Your dream is my dream. And
thank you, Wilson.
Proppy is where dreams come home. And here we are. Let's build this dream together. I welcome you to join the dream.
Thank you, Wilson, for going up close and personal and deeply personal with me tonight. I thank you to all of you who's actually here listening to our Proppy podcast. Please don't go away. Even though we're going to end this official podcast, we are going to open up all for Q&A. So this is a special treat for those of you who are actually here with us on this live Zoom session. But for those of you who are listening in from our podcast, whether it's YouTube or Podbean, we have our weekly Proppy podcast every Sunday at 9 p.m. That is the English podcast. And right now, we will have our second, next week, our second Mandarin podcast where our new Proppy buddy, Vivian Chong, will speak to another founder, Dr. Max Chen. So don't miss that as well. And we also have our Mandarin pitch sessions every Saturday. Don't forget to tune in again on our YouTube and Podbean channels. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I've got to also say this. Ini kalilah.
Ini kalilah. Founder not found.
Prior to knowing Wilson, I always get to hear a lot about him to my ex-colleague, Dr. Max.
He's always been so helpful.
He's a very visionary guy.
Then I really got to know Wilson in person when Proppy was founded end of 2020.
He have a very sharp mind.
It is truly a solution architect with foresight, technical know-how, and a clear vision.
He's someone that takes a personal interest into the mentoring relationship.
It is a person with empathy.
A strategist planner.
He's such a great mentor to each and every one of us.
It is my honor to participate in this venture and to make dreams come home together with my Proppian family.